The following program is a public service of Gulf Coast State College, WKGC, and Commodore Productions. And now, the Military Hour with Carrie Dieter.
Welcome to another edition of Military Hour. We have very special guests with us today. Once again, returning guest, Linda Cope, founder of Warrior Beach Retreat. Her son, Jonathan, is along today. And we have a new guest, Hector Solis, who is the VP of Sunrise Beach Resort on the BOD, the Board of Directors.
Yes, sir.
Correct? On Homeowners Association. And Charlie Thompson, returning guest, Gold Star father. Charlie, I'm reaching across. God bless you. Good to see you again.
Thank you.
Hector,
Good.
welcome.
Thanks, sir.
Jonathan.
Yes, sir.
I need a haircut. You're looking good. Getting ready to be another exciting time here.
Yes, it is.
On the beach and in town.
Yes.
Tell everybody what's going on this year.
Well, for the very first time, First Baptist Church of Callaway is hosting the opening ceremony. And we have a local speaker. He's from the Navy Dive School. He's one of the commanders out there. Joseph T. Howard will be there. And I think it's neat to get a local person coming in for the first time. And we're grateful that Hector Solis has secured all of the rooms for us, 21 rooms, at the Sunrise Beach condominiums. He's been tirelessly making those phone calls to make that happen. But we're excited. We've got them coming as far as New Mexico for this one, from all across the country. So we're excited.
That is fabulous. Give everybody the dates. Make sure you give the website again. And obviously, you know, I'm going to say this. If you want to make a donation, there's a way to do that too.
Yes.
Everybody needs money to operate on.
They're coming in April 21st through the 28th. And the opening ceremony and parade is the 26th. And it's all on our website, warriorbeachretreat.org. And we are not affiliated with Wounded Warrior Project.
Right.
We're the local 501c3 charity that we started after our son lost both legs and injured his hands by an IED blast in Baghdad, Iraq.
And how's he doing these days?
He's doing good.
Good.
He's doing good, yes. Thank you for asking. Yes.
And there's somebody else I want to ask about, and we're going to get back on task.
Okay.
How is Miss Norma doing?
Norma's a miracle. She's
Yeah.
going to be discharged from the hospital. For those of you that don't know, a dear friend of ours, Norma Tabbitt, her husband is Jerry. He is the meteorologist for News Channel 13.
Yep, WMBD.
She literally has been in a coma for about 3 months and came out of it about 2 weeks ago and is in rehab and
Good.
will be hopefully going home April 10th. But they're part of our staff team. They actually stay with us during the retreats.
Yep.
She goes with us for the spa day, and we can't thank people enough for their prayers for that precious lady.
Yep, and they're a wonderful couple and good people, so thanks for the update. Okay, back on point, back on task. But I had to ask about
Well, that's
Jerry and
a good
Norma.
thing to ask about.
So, how in the world did you, Mr. Hector Solis, get involved in this? Did Linda strong-arm you? Or?
Well, believe it or not, Linda does do some strong arming.
Oh, I know.
Not in this particular case, but I actually got involved about 5 years ago just by waving the flag on the Hathaway.
Yeah.
It was one of those deals, I had heard about it a lot, and I said, man, that sounds like a cool thing. Let's just go to the Hathaway Bridge. And I want to throw a shout out to John Riekert,
Yes.
who provides those flags at the Hathaway every year. He provides flags all around town all the time for everybody during certain types of events, 4th of July, Memorial Day and things. So we went to that, grabbed a flag, and I just remember the feeling of being me and my wife on the bridge, waving that flag, that sense of pride that came across, and sense of pride for what they had done for us. It was just incredible. And that's how I started, just 2 or 3 years in a row, coming every 6 months, after the fall and the spring, waving the flag. And then at one point, Linda, they were having a little bit of difficulties finding some condos. I found out. We started talking. And I said, you know what, let me see what I can do. Luckily, between me and my family, we already own a few rooms. And so I said, you know, I think we can build on this. And I just kind of grabbed a phone list and just started calling people.
Well, there you go.
And when I started letting people know that it was an opportunity for us to give back to those that had given so much, It was a little bit of work, but it wasn't anything that couldn't be overcome. And we have a great group of people at Sunrise Beach. A lot of patriotic families, many of them whose families have served. So as soon as you mention it to them, it's something that they wanted to be involved with. And what I always like to do is, and so that was the first one 2 years ago. And then this time, you know, once again, 2 years went by, had people coming to me saying, hey, are you going to do it again? And so we talked. And but I like to put a challenge out to other HOA boards that are out there. We've got a lot of condo high-rises on the beach, and I can tell you that what you get back from this is so much more than you're ever going to give. That donating a room is nothing compared to the feeling that you get when you see these warriors come to the beach and be able to go ahead and get a little bit of respite from life, from all the difficulties that they go through on a day-to-day basis.
Exactly. And it's not just the warrior themselves, their wives or girlfriends or whatever the case may be, they benefit as well.
Most definitely.
So, you know, putting together the spa day and all the other activities, it's more than a good thing to help our troops. And what better area than right here in Bay County?
That's right.
With the substantial numbers of active duty and veterans and families around. So, yeah, good deal. So,
And the most beautiful beaches.
and, well, yeah, that is true.
Beaches. We
That
do.
is true. And do you have a military background yourself, or?
I don't. Early in my career, I worked on military bases for about 5 to 6 years. So I worked side by side and actually trained some military when I worked for DOD, more in the civil engineers background area. But so I worked side by side with the military. And one of the things that I never did, and maybe that's why I feel that void, that I need to do more. And then the rest of my career was in federal law enforcement.
Federal law enforcement. Uh-oh, can we switch seats? I don't want to, he might have a memory of years gone by when I wasn't such a nice guy. But in any event, no, I'm just kidding. In any event, Charlie Thompson, I think it's been a little over a year since I saw you and your lovely wife, Barb. How have you been?
Fantastic.
Good.
Couldn't be better.
You still making the pens?
Still making a pen. We're at over 27,000 of those pins we've made and passed out
On your own dime.
on my own dime.
Did you hear that,
I
folks?
did not. This country
That's fabulous.
was so good to us. When Jacob was killed, you know, the support that we got, and obviously there was insurance money, and I didn't want to profit from that.
Right.
And I took every dime of that money and has been passed out to our wounded warriors.
More than honorable.
I didn't keep any of it.
Yep, more than honorable.
I,
Well, explain what those pens are. What are they?
Oh, yeah.
They're spent?
okay, yes, okay.
Yeah, what are
these
they?
these are military spent 7.62 rifle shells
Yep, 7.62.
made into a pen. And it takes 2 of them to make a pen. And I call them the Freedom Pen.
Beautiful.
And when I first started the project, a lot of people had ideas of what it should be. And I had, one of the things came up and said it should be called the Jacob Pen. Well, who would understand Jacob Pen? But everyone understands Freedom Pen.
Right.
And so that's the name I selected. And then through time, I just took it, kept making them, kept passing them out, kept making them, kept passing them out. And so, like I say, we're over 27,000.
Amazing.
And we just, right now it's difficult to get the shells. And I want military spent shells.
Right.
I don't want to go out and buy the civilian 308s, because in my note that goes along with the pen it says these are military spent shells fighting for our freedom, because that's what it's all about, fighting for our freedom.
So if anybody out there has some spent military
if you have-
shells,
I know there's rules and regulations in the government, but every once in a while I'll get a small box or a package of shells, and I don't ask any questions. I just make pens. And but right now, I because of the limited number of shells I get, I have pretty much dedicated everything to Warrior Beach Retreat first. As long as I can, I want to take care of them first.
Understood.
But every once in a while, I'll run into someone, and example this morning, we were sitting at Whataburger, where else, for breakfast.
Where else? That's right.
And a couple walk in, and his brother was killed 2 months after Jacob. And so we sat there and talked.
Yeah.
I didn't have any pens available, but I would love to have. But I talked to him, and his dad was obviously devastated when found out his son was killed. And so I got his name and address, and I'm going to make up a Gold Star banner that I make up. And I told Steve, I says, don't tell your dad it's coming. I'll get it made up and I'll send it up to him. But I'll include a Freedom pen to him. And I just want them to know that as a Gold Star family, we appreciate the sacrifice that you made and your son made.
God bless you, Charlie. Thanks for doing that. Just a great guy, you know. Yeah.
Yeah, I met
it's
him
all about honoring the troops.
It's all about honoring the troops. Met him in the parking lot at Publix one day because he has the painting on the back of his vehicle about Jacob.
Yeah.
Beautiful painting. And he mentioned to me, Linda, I've been wanting to get up with you. I'd like for you to give out these pens because he also has Purple Heart pens for the wives, beautiful pens for the wives. I said, why don't you join us and give these out? And I think it would be more memorable. So he did that, and now he's actually on our board, and they help us. They make all kind of gifts for these men and women. They make the quilts, they make wooden gifts, and they just love on these warriors and their loved ones. And they keep up with them. Yes. Hector, you've kept up with some of these vets too from 2 years ago, even though one has...
Definitely. Yeah, and I'd like to tell that story.
Yeah, go ahead and tell that story.
Thank you for that.
You know, the one story I'd like to tell is last fall, the fall retreat. Belinda and Derek Washington, they were close to divorce. Their marriage was in deep trouble, and I connected with Derek a little bit there, and you could see there was a little bit of change. It was him, and there was a little bit of a change, but then they came to a mini retreat in January, and I was so impressed. We were at lunch one day, and Derek and Belinda were sitting across from Barb and I, and seeing the joy and the they were just, there was big lights, and you could see that, man, this thing is really working. And I was so impressed. I said, and I kind of like to show off my sewing room and what I do and everything. And I said, if you guys would like to come over and see where I do this and how I do it, why don't you come over? So they came over one afternoon, and before we walked in the house, I told Belinda, because she went through some tough times with Derek.
Well, yeah.
And I told her, I said, when you walk in, because I have quilts all over the place, I said, if you see anything that you like here, you just tell me because it's going to be yours. And so she walked in, she saw one immediately, she says, I love that. I says, it's yours. So we go upstairs, and Derek is looking around. He says, well, I like that army one. I says, it's yours. So then, a couple days later, two of the other husbands came over to the house.
You started something.
I started something. And as we're going through, I had made a quilt probably 5 years ago. It was a quilt that I said would never leave my possession. Mm-hmm. It would never leave my possession. And Julio looked at that. He says, that's Annie, his wife. Well, that evening after they left, I thought to myself, why do I make these quilts? Is it for my satisfaction, or do I want to take it and help someone else? I told Barb, I says, I'm going to take it to dinner with us, and I'm going to give it to Annie. So we take
never say never, right?
That's right.
So, yeah, right. So we took it out to one of the restaurant that night, and there was 3 or 4 couples there, and we're just talking, and I told Annie, I said, I want to show you this quilt I made. I opened up, and her jaw dropped to the floor almost. And she just, I kept talking because I was delaying the whole thing. And I wrapped up, I says, Annie, Barb and I would like you to have this. Well, the tears started coming down. She grasped me. But when I see that kind of joy, it's not hard because, you may not believe this, but I work 40 to 50 hours a week
Oh, I believe that easy.
making stuff for our military men and women. I'm constantly looking for new things, different ideas. But the joy. So getting back to Belinda and Diedrich, seeing them sit over there and so happy, coming to my house to pick it up, and during our conversation, I found out that they have a daughter, a 10 or 11-year-old daughter, and she was taking the blunt of a lot of their inner conflicts. And I told them, I said, and you don't know about this. I says, I would like to make a special quilt for her. Oh. And I says, what's her interests? What's her colors? Her interest was music. Her colors were black and purple. So I made up a special quilt, and I sent it up to her. And I have on my phone, and then I'll show it later, pictures of their daughter receiving this quilt.
Well, good. That included her.
Yes.
Sure.
So those connections go on, not just on the retreat. It's just beautiful, and it's so special. We're grateful to have he and Barb part of our team, and they don't stay with us at the retreats, but they are there very much so. Hector, do you want to share that story about that friend?
Let's hear your story there.
Yeah, first thing I want to do is I want to go ahead and mention that one of our warriors from 2 years ago is in the hospital right now.
Yes.
Dana's in the hospital right now
with
a lot of pain and stuff. Actually, from that retreat, two of the couples moved here. They left where they lived,
Colorado
I think
Springs.
Colorado, and they came to Panama City Beach to live. And so we keep in touch with them. And Dana right now is in the hospital, and Tona's taking care of him, and so we want to say prayers for him as he goes through this, because it's tough. But these are warriors from 2 years ago that stayed with us that are here. But like I said, I tried to participate as much as I could 2 years ago, and be at some of the dinners and things, and some of the prayer groups that were going on, some of the counseling sessions. And I just really connected with one of the guys, retired Lieutenant Colonel Bill Philbrick, and great guy, retired out of the Army, and he was just that. You could tell all the troops just loved him. It was his command presence and sense of humor. He was just the greatest guy ever. I mean, you'd have never known that he was the lieutenant colonel, that he was the guy running stuff, because, but it was his natural ability, and so everybody drew to him. And towards the end, we had quite a few conversations, and then on the last day, he was trying to put together a little thumb drive with pictures to be able to share with everybody, so everybody could share from the fishing trip to the golf trip to all the different things that they did. And we went up to one of the condos, and he's working on it, and I said, by the way, Bill, I said, what are your injuries? How bad were your injuries? And I said, I guess they were internal injuries. And he said, yeah. He goes, most of my injuries were internal from the war. And he goes, I'll put it this way. He said, on a good day, it takes me 2 to 3 hours for my body to warm up. And I said, wow. I said, so on a bad day, what's it like? And he said, well, on a bad day, it's just not that good. And I never knew the full extent, but if you could just think about that, it takes your body 2 to 3 hours just to get started, a 30-year morning, just to be able to start functioning. And, Bill lost his life last year. He made it a year after that, and succumbed to the injuries that he had. Beautiful wife,
Kelly.
2 children, Kelly. And we kept in touch over the time. This was last February when he lost his life. But I go back to thinking, this is how special this is.
Right.
Because he was able to make more lasting memories with his wife, to be able to go back and share, because he was the type that he loved life and enjoyed life. So these were more memories that him and his wife were able to have and to share, and also to be that beacon of light to others, because he was a beacon of light to many. And so it was beautiful to see that, because as Charlie talks about, many of these couples that come damaged. They come with a lot of issues and problems, and I saw it firsthand through the group counseling sessions that were going on. but many of them go back restored through Christ by being able to do the worship and everything else. They see that there's a way to be able to go ahead and put these things past it, and that little bit of respite that they're able to get to be able to connect again and not have to be talking about surgeries and bills and being able to talk about just the enjoyment. It's just a godsend to be able to do this, and Linda being able to do it, and people like Charlie that give so much of their time to this. It's incredible, but that's what this is all about. So when people think about, well, am I just giving a room for somebody to come down and have, you may be giving the lasting memories of somebody that's going to carry that with them for the rest of their life, not knowing how long that may be, but we're giving out special memories.
And all of it, when it comes together, are instrumental, peripheral pieces of the giant puzzle that these wounded warriors and families are trying to work through. So you have no idea what kind of a blessing that is to those folks by donating, whether it's a monetary gift, whether it's a condo stay on the beach. You just don't know the effects. So, and Jonathan, I've teased him a lot, but I'm going easy on you today because I forgot my hearing aids. I noticed you had yours.
He does not need a haircut, and you do.
And I do. And I don't have my hearing aids, and I need
it. Just barely.
But Jonathan's involvement is on the spiritual side. And I guess, and this is me guessing, I'm not a good guesser, but I'm thinking that's probably what your calling is it not? Yeah.
Much so.
So why don't you share a little bit about any plans you may have for this retreat? You see what I was doing? I'm not supposed to do that. But anyway, I don't follow instructions very well. Whatever you may have planned for this retreat and some of the involvement that you've had through the years.
Well, number one, as I do these retreats and minister and encourage and counsel these guys, I want to be able to love these guys right where they're at. Because here's the thing is, they don't get that anywhere else. Because you know what? Jesus calls us to love one another. As he has loved us, we're supposed to do the same for others. And live that in front of them each day. But here's the thing. I love doing this because I get to be a shining light and be myself in front of them. And that's the whole thing about it. When I'm in to see these guys, I want to be able to make them laugh, have fun, but be glad they came. Because here's the thing. If nobody else cares about appreciate the service, we do. And the thing is, they can know there's a God up there that loves them and gave himself, and they're not alone. Because they are surrounded by people that love them, accept him, and appreciate their service to our country. Because the freedom is not free because there was blood shed on those fields. Because here's the thing is, people may not understand, but we do because we've been there.
Yep.
And the thing is, that's my heart. That's why God built that, called me to do it, to minister and encourage, and to just live life with these guys.
I'm going to share something with you that not only myself, but a lot of veterans, brothers and sisters, we look at not only our own brothers and sisters, but we look at people this way. And maybe it's because we've seen so much and done so much. We love each other, right or wrong, weak or strong.
Sure.
We don't judge. That job is too big for us.
That's right.
And we are not the judge.
That's right.
Only God Almighty is the judge.
Yeah.
So, is everybody gonna like me? Nope, everybody's not gonna like
That's
me.
right.
But that's okay. Because I'm human too.
That's right.
Fraught with flaws. And I don't like everybody either. But I do try, So, in any event, now let's move on to your mother, Linda Cope. You brought some peripherals here today. Obviously, we're familiar with this one.
That's right.
And you might want to talk to us about what's going on right here.
Well, what's going on behind you is we have a friend, Fred and Marcia Souders, a beautiful couple that live in Illinois. Is that where they're
Indiana.
from? Indiana. And they actually found out about our organization because they live across the street from Charlie and Barb Thompson. And he one day said, Lynn, I want to show you something. And I came over to his house, and he showed me this beautiful picture because he's been at the retreats. He says, I feel like this is the vision you have for these men and women. And then we asked Charlie Thompson to make a cover for it, which he did beautifully. This is the first day I'm seeing it. So when they come in the first day, when they're all together, it's going to be unveiled. So if you all want to unveil that picture, Hector and
Oh, sure.
and
Oh, wait, I got to put on my tall shoes if I can do this. Without,
unmicing yourself.
yeah, I'm going to tear something up, no doubt. That is,
And it says, peace is coming. And it's a picture of every one that has ever served to defend the freedoms of that they have in that picture. And that is our heart, for these men and women to come and to have peace. And it like they were saying, they come and they're in, marriages come and they announce, we're on the verge of divorce.
Yes.
And they go home and they have made lifelong friends because there's so many that come. They stay connected and their marriages are saved. And the community needs to know they're not only saving marriages, they're saving families and they're saving lives.
Yes.
And so to me, he wanted to just give that to me. I said, no, that I thank you for blessing me with it, but that needs to be on display the whole retreat, and it needs to be unveiled when they come. So they know peace is coming. There is hope. They're here. They're not going to, like Hector was saying, they're not going to all these appointments and dealing with stresses of even in-laws and outlaws. They're just with their spouse. Most of them are married. We do have some coming with their parents or single people with a caregiver. And we focus on the caregiver. But to see them when they arrive and then to see them when they leave, they're not the same people.
right.
And a lot of prayer goes into these retreats and fasting. And we pray for each person that's here, that they're the ones that are supposed to be here for this retreat. And then when you see the divine connections that happen throughout the retreat, God does a good job.
Oh, yeah.
He does a real good job. And it's a lot of work, and they're not possible without the support and the donations and the help of this community. And I can't thank the community enough. When they line the streets by the thousands, there's a box of Kleenex in their car, and Billboard Kia provides the vehicles for those that fly in, and they weep. And men don't cry, but they cry in that parade.
Yes, they do.
And then we have a group picture taken after at the church. They're going, Linda, you're torturing us. We should take that before we go. But the healing that comes to these that have served, most of them that have never shed a tear, when they see the patriotism of this community, it's unlike anything in the nation, because they come from all across the nation. Right. So don't think, if you can't give a financial donation, don't think that standing on the side of the road and saluting them is small. It is huge. It is huge. And I'm so grateful that when our son was severely wounded in Iraq, we were living here, not having any idea the vision God would give us to help hundreds and hundreds. We've done this for 9 years.
Right.
And hundreds and hundreds that have come through here that are forever changed because of the generosity of this community.
Could I expand on what Linda was saying with that,
Absolutely.
especially from 2 years ago?
Absolutely.
I believe our speaker, it was Tim Lee, wasn't it, that
Yes,
came?
yes.
I forget his rank from the Army, but that sticks with me when had the
Ceremony.
the ceremony that we did. I forget which church we were at, but Tim Lee is a renowned speaker across the country who lost his legs in Vietnam and is followed by just tens of thousands of people. He has probably spoken, he basically said he's been all over the United States,
Yep.
in ministry and everywhere else. When he was at the church and he cried, he was talking about no matter how many places he had been, he had never seen a place like Panama City Beach and Panama City and Bay County, the outpour of love. He said he had never seen that anywhere else. And I remember being able to be blessed to ride in that parade with others. And when there was a World War II vet in the middle of the road by the Navy base, probably in his 90s, standing out there saluting that processional as it came through. But to hear that from somebody like him, and my wife talks about it all the time, because this is something that's been in parades all over the United States that honor people's service, and he said he had never seen it like he had seen it here, and he talked about it when he first got here, the fact that when they go to lunch and people pull over and salute them, it's all week long. The people we have in our community are the best in the United States when it comes to honoring our military, and we've got to recognize that and thank them, because we have so many veterans here and so many who aren't veterans that want to thank them for this service. It's just incredible, the outpouring that we get in this community.
And that's how I wound up landing in Panama City. It was home when I got here because of all the military connections, and so I love it. And thank you for the work that you're doing for our veterans. And hold my hand for a second. God bless you, Jonathan. Thanks for what you're doing. God bless you, Hector Solis. Thank you, Charlie Thompson. Thank you, brother. Appreciate it. We're going to have to wrap this one up for now, but the door's open. In fact, I think you're coming back next week.
I am. Yes,
okay.
with the pastor from the church. Yes.
Don't forget my lunch. If you got a pastor, if you're bringing a pastor, you have to have food. That's how that works. So bring my lunch too. Anyway, that's enough goofing off. Till next time, thanks for watching.
Thank you.